In example 4, we have some data on the temperature in Chicago during 10 days in February. Given this data, we're going to create a histogram. What we want to do first here for this data is get ourselves organized a little bit. And you can do this in the calculator, but I think this one's not going to be too bad to do by hand. So we're going to go with a least to greatest list. So we're going to go 31, 31, that's these two. And then I think 37 might be next, and then 39. So we'll go 37, 39. And then we've got 41. And that's over here. And then 45 and 46. And then we've got 53 and 69. Now that we have our data organized here, let's make sure that I've got, oops, I forgot one. Jeez, teacher mistake. Darn it. I forgot that 61 there. How silly of me. So one of the things I was doing in my head was, well, I could have just looked at the ones I didn't cross off, or I was looking at the numbers and saying, I think I only have 9 numbers, and I know there's supposed to be 10. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers now, and we can cross off the 61. Now to make a histogram, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a vertical rectangle, or a bin, they're called sometimes, and we're going to see how many numbers fit into that bin. And the height of this thing is going to correspond to how many numbers fit in that bin. So we have to pick our bin widths. Now we don't want to pick like 30 to 70 because that would be one rectangle with a height of 10. It wouldn't really show the data. We also don't want to be too skinny on it, like 30 to 31, 31 to 32, and so on and so forth. So in this case, I think what might make sense is to go up by 10. Now, if we graph this, what we're going to do is we're going to need a vertical axis. We're going to need a horizontal axis. We'll label each one of those. So the bottom is going to be the temperature, and that'll be what your variable is in. And then the vertical axis is always going to be frequency for a histogram, or how many. And sometimes it's a relative frequency, which is just a percentage. But in this one, we'll just do frequency. And if we think about this, if we're going to go by, let's see, we're going to go 30 to 40, and then 40 to 50, and then 50 to 60, and then 60 to 70, I think. And so that kind of looks like a 20 here. We'll get that to be a 70 for you. 70, there we are. I think that covers all of our data. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to figure out what our frequency should be by looking at our data and figuring out how many pieces of data fit in between all of those numbers. So let's choose 30 to 40. So how many numbers are between 30 to 40? Well, there's 4 of them right here. So our first bin is going to have a vertical height of 4. The next bin, or rectangle, is going to be from 40 to 50, which is this right here. So there's 3 numbers, so that's going to have a vertical height of 3. Then there's 1 number from 50 to 60, and 2 numbers from 60 to 70. So our scale here on the left-hand side, I think we have to make it all the way to go, or all the way up to 4. So we'll try to keep those tick marks as evenly spaced as we can. And let's draw our first rectangle, or bin here. To do that, you're just going to go straight up from the 30, and we're going to go vertically until we get to 4, come over to the right, and then come vertically down. If you want, you can even write the number on the top. The next one is going to be a height of 3, because 3 numbers are between 40 and 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to 3 here, draw to the right, and then draw down. For a histogram, those bins will be touching each other. You'll know it's a histogram when that's the case. You will know it's a bar graph, which is different if those are not touching. So that's used for categorical data, and this is quantitative data, or we have quantities of things here, numbers. So the next piece is going to be just 1. The height is 1 because there's only 1 number between 50 and 60. There's 2 numbers between the next two, 60 to 70. So I'm going to have a height of 2. Come over and draw my bin. Yeah, if you want, you can shade it in a little bit. That's up to you. And you've now created a graphical representation of our data called a histogram. Now, you can't tell the center of the data from a histogram. Well, you kind of can tell it, I guess, but I meant exactly. And so if we're choosing down here between the mean, median, or the mode, kind of hard to figure that out. You might say, well, it's between 30 and 40 for the mode, right? Well, the mode is the one that's repeated the most, and you would have to actually look at the data to figure that out, which would be 31. You wouldn't actually be able to tell that from the histogram. If you want to list the mode for this, that would be 31. That's fine. The median, what we could do is separate the list into two equal halves. So that would be like right here. So the number in the middle of 41 and 45 is 43. So we'll do, let's see, 31 we said for the mode, 43 for the median. You just get to do one of these, but we're kind of we're kind of rocking and rolling here doing all three. The mean, you just have to add all of them up and then divide by how many there are. So if you do that, you're going to find that the mean is, oh geez, let's see, 45.3. So if you add them all up, divide by 10, you get 45.3. So your choice, whichever one you want to do. Nice little discussion of the mean, median, and mode from our data set here regarding temperatures in Chicago.